Hello and welcome to Asteroid Cetratus Journey to Elaxia. This is a chapter-based D&D campaign set inside of an asteroid. At the start of each chapter, we're going to have a different group of players here. Some of them will be new, some of them will be returning. But believe it or not, this is the very first chapter of Asteroid Cetratus, which I am very excited about. I'm your DM, Galdeveer, and I have a bunch of lovely people here. Please introduce yourselves.
I'm Egg. My character's name is Second.
I am Dornish Princess, or Ari, and my character's name is Myra Kaylani.
Hi, I'm D&D Unoptimized. My name's Nathan, and my character's name is Russo.
Hi there, I'm Twig. I will be playing Wicker.
You almost did it again!
Hi there, I'm Twig. I'm going to be playing Evergrey, the Wicker Heart.
Well then, now that we're all acquainted, let's begin. An intelligence can become incredibly complex, but as long as it remains in an apathetic state, it cannot cross the threshold into sentience. If you have no preference over your environment or circumstance, you have no reason to change it. You have no reason to act upon the world around you. For lack of a better term, you're a couch potato, a being with the ability to be alive but chooses to remain as static and unchanging as an object. A being of apathy. We begin our story in that state of apathy, in a state of nothingness. We see nothing, we hear nothing, we feel nothing. But then, a few moments pass, and a few sensories flicker by. The sight of a tree growing upside down, the smell of a burning dandelion seed, the sound of a fox pawing at the ground. Egg. These are the first things you ever experience, and you don't know why you experience them. And I'm going to ask you to take your first step out of apathy, show a lack of indifference to your environment, look at these sensories, and modify something.
Sorry, I don't actually know what to do.
It's fair. Makes sense. It's difficult to step out of apathy. Because when you're just developing as a consciousness, when you're just barely beginning, what desire do you have to change the world around you? Again, I'll go through them. The sight of a tree growing upside down, the smell of a burning dandelion seed, the sound of a fox pawing at the ground. You can tweak one of these, you can modify one of them. Is there something about one of these that you don't like, something you could like more? You could change the sensory, make it to your liking.
I want to get a better look at the tree.
Okay. The tree moves into view, and you can now see that its leaves are stained glass, cyan and pink, and the bark is a deep brown. But we also notice that one of the other sensories gets changed. The smell of a burning dandelion seed gets warmer. It gets overtaken by the smell of smoke, like as if the fire got brighter and there's just not enough of a seed there to provide that much of a smell anymore. But you didn't change that. So you have to posit that you're not the only thing here. More sensories come flying by, bumping into a white cord in a space of nothingness and hearing a strum like an instrument. Heading towards a gray cord, but never quite reaching it, the texture of a tire tread against the ground, the sound of stained glass sleeves clattering together like wind chimes, the warmth of a bioluminescent ladybug. Change another thing.
I try and figure out where the fire is.
These sensories begin coming your way, but you still fixate on that fire. You still fixate on the thing you didn't change. You start tweaking it and modifying it, and it gets modified in return. Over time, you almost start to develop a language. You start to realize if you tweak it in one way, it gets tweaked in another way. Eventually, you decide on names. The other being shows a first place trophy to indicate that their name is first. What do you do to indicate your name?
A medal right behind them. Silver.
A humbling image?
Second.
Time passes by, more sensories occur. The claustrophobia of mist, the feeling of stabbing someone in the back, the taste of melancholia, the sight of a metal building in a forest. At some point, though, something different happens. You feel a resonance, a ripple of vibration at one point. And it's not one of these sensories. It's not like you're remembering it. It's more like it just happened. And you've never experienced that before. What do you do?
Suppose I ask first and try and figure out what's going on with them.
First sends back to you the sensory of wind against a surface and the erosion of that, or a tire against the ground. And you can sort of imagine how one of these vibrations could be one of these things it sent to you. And it seems like it's trying to tell you, actually, give me an insight check. First roll of the campaign.
Here we go. 19.
Come
On a 19, you think that for a moment they're maybe not getting it, that First isn't quite understanding. It seems like they might be trying to communicate that it could be connected to one of these things, but a grander idea enters your mind. You think back to that tree again when you got closer to it, and the sound of the leaves tapping against each other. That's more close to that vibration, that resonance. And you realize that all of these things you're experiencing, you're not a part of them. There's somewhere else where all of these things exist. A world outside of where you are.
Whoa.
And you're able to communicate those images back to First, and more conversation happens. An amount of time that we can't really comprehend passes. We're used to using means that are external to us to keep time, but you don't really have that here. So it's the amount of time you spend in the state, it's unclear. There's a moment of silence before you get 3 sensories at the same time, all coming from First. The smell of a corpse, the sound of pottery shattering, the heartbeat of someone who's running away. You feel repeated resonance around you like you did before when you realized there was a world. And it happens over and over and over again, and these sensories get sent to you all at the same time, over and over and over again, like they're screaming. And then it stops. And for the first time in a long time, you're alone.
Oh man. I try and figure out how to do anything, frankly. Maybe I try and move.
You could try to move. But there is also an itch at the back of your mind. A pain that comes from loneliness. And just for a moment you think, if I just went back to nothing, maybe I wouldn't have to feel bad. But you start pushing forward. You think, can I try to move? And I'm going to ask, I'm going to say survival.
All right.
I want to see how quickly you gain the willpower to keep going.
That is a 6.
6. You begin trying to think about how to move, how to do something. But you're hit by such a immediate roadblock of just not having any progress whatsoever for a good amount of time, and you start to just fall back into yourself, almost like your mind is collapsing onto itself. Time passes. You have missed the chance to see what was going on, but eventually, you get your courage back. You begin to move again. Give me an athletics check.
I'm supposedly good at that. 24 and a natural 20.
Okay. You were hitting a wall for so long, but the second something clicked, you burst into the world. As you do, collections of sensories that you've run into over time rush through your mind and construct themselves into more complicated ideas. We see a Parmenian scientist teaching a class by writing out music notes on a chalkboard. A ring-toothed monk meditates and opens their eyes to find that their arms have been transformed into a pair of wings that they once had in a dream. A tree with stained glass leaves projects a tangible hologram of an ancient building over that same building's remains. Light flickers in the eyes of a rusted android who lays forgotten at the bottom of a bog of tana lurch. You see all of this within skyless gray caverns, set alight by bioluminescent liquids and animals. It is my pleasure to welcome all of you to Asteroid Cetratus. Please introduce your character as you craft yourself out of the crystalline walls of the Neuralite Mesa and burst into the world.
Second is about 6 feet 4 inches, a pink crystalline entity, a Neuralon. An entity formed entirely out of this crystal and this rock. Jesus, I have no idea how to do this. It barely looks like anything in my head. Sorry.
Unless you changed it, it would have digitigrade legs, and it would have an extra joint in its arms, so it almost has that, I almost want to say praying mantis type aspect of seeing the forearms kind of arched outward. And so the entire body is crystalline. It's various crystals, and it's like a low-res texture in a game. It's lots of geometric angular surfaces, and the head is this very flat gem that's significantly large, and there's a gem on it for an eye. So, you are currently in a mesa, sort of like the Grand Canyon, and at the bottom there's this orange sand, and you begin to look up the large walls in this canyon. Rather than what you would normally expect in a mesa, which is clay in the walls, you actually see towering cliffs of crystal. You begin looking around, and there's pathways going different ways, and you're not quite sure where you'd have to go to get out of this mesa. Images similar to the ones that you saw when you were in apathy, when you were in nothing, flicker within the crystal on the walls sometimes, and that gives you the smallest amount of familiarity, but other than that, there's nothing similar. Near the wall, there are some things that I would describe, but it would be difficult for you to comprehend at this point. You can try to immediately leave and start going down a pathway, or you can try to investigate the stuff at the wall.
I think I might take a look at the stuff at the wall. I want to know what it is.
Okay.
Or at least get some more information about the place that I'm in.
Give me an investigation check.
13.
You begin looking at it, and you see a pickaxe and some other mining equipment, like a cart that's being used to carry crystal, and you see that in the wall there is a large chunk of crystal that's not there. You're not quite sure why that is, but looking around, you don't see where it could have went other than maybe down where one of those carts could have come from. So you assume that if you head in the direction of the cart you see right now, you might be able to find that cart. But that's a story maybe for another day. Next, we need to move on to something a bit different. We're going to jump ahead in your life now. Not long ago, you ended up going to some ruins that were believed to be of the Elaxians, and you were able to find a trinket of some kind, as you often do. And this trinket is a record that says the tale of the rotting heart on it. Now, a lot of these are very small records. They're meant for like a very small record player. But you notice that the diameter is ever so much larger than other ones you've seen, and in every other respect it looks the same. But this one's slightly different, and this has always been a tale that nobody has taken seriously. It seems historical, but it is regarded as fiction. After finding this, you return to the Cetraxian Chapel, a tower made of white wood and stained glass windows. These windows are made by layering different colors of stained glass leaves in complex patterns. Surrounding the tower, we see weeping stained trees that create a sound like wind chimes whenever they're rustled by the wind. As you enter the chapel, you bump into a stained that you recognize to be Grand Impurity Paneth. She is wearing a blue robe with a black shoulder cloak and a yellow stole. Her antlers wrap closely around her skull like a crown. Jagged stained glass that is blue on one side and yellow on the other grows upwards out of the antlers. One of her eyes is entirely blue and the other is entirely yellow. Yellow and blue splotches are scattered across her skin like watercolors. Sorry, is there something you need? I'm kind of on a schedule here.
Oh, sorry, I found a record. It's larger than any of the other ones that we found. It's Elaxia, and I just think that it might be significant, and I wanted to know what you thought
We
of
have
it.
a million of those. It's the tale of the rotting heart. Why are you wasting my time with this?
It's longer than any other version that we've gotten. It's potentially significant. I just wanted to...
Can I see it?
Yes, of course.
She takes a moment. I'm going to roll a check here. It doesn't look any larger to me. Look, we have a million of these. Just throw it out. It's not worthwhile. Look, we've been looking for a while, like you've been asking, but you can't substitute the need to find the person you're looking for with finding this lost city. It doesn't exist, okay? Yes, maybe there's a manufacturing defect in this one record, but that doesn't mean anything.
All right. Sorry for bothering you.
It's okay. As you exit the chapel, we look towards a stained glass window depicting the patron saint of Marlins. The light passes through, getting brighter and brighter, until it eventually becomes a dirty fluorescent light on a metallic ceiling. As we look down from the ceiling, we see the wire fence cages of a kennel. Within these cages are a wide variety of Feyre, but that is not our focus. On the far left of the room, we see one kid sitting alone, and in the opposite corner, we see a group of children all stuffed into one kennel, as if it were a prison cell. D&D Unoptimized, would you please introduce your character?
Sure. I didn't know I was going to be doing this. Number 43. Like all the numbers, it's rather pale. The bioluminescence doesn't really get down here in the kennels as much as it does other places. He's thin, gaunt. He has kind of like a shadow of what would develop into handsomeness, but there are scars and lacerations that cover his most entire body. The thing that people probably would notice the most is a glowing, flickering, cherry red light that emanates from within his body, highlighting his skeleton. And the other kids, I assume, would have a similar one, but it glows slightly even through his rags.
Yeah, sitting in here with the kennel with you is 41, who is a ringtooth with two big triangular buck teeth. A ringtooth generally has green skin and they have triangular teeth, and that those triangular teeth go in a spiral all the way down the mouth and even down the throat. They're sitting there.
Do you think they'll be back soon, or?
On the other side is 50, who is also sitting in here. They're a black Tarhazar, and they have sort of like white hair on their head, and it looks like they're marrow gas, which is the emanation of this glow that you were talking about, for them is a bit different. Theirs is of a batlin, so they have wings that don't really match their skeleton, but looks like the skeleton of a bat of some kind. And it's, instead of it being red, it's green. A Tarhazar is essentially a person who, in this case, they have black, blubbery skin, and their eyes are pitch white.
I don't know. They'll be back soon, I guess. What do you think?
I really hope not. Tired of this place. They said they'd let us see the light soon.
Yeah, I hope so.
You see on the walls, there are drawings made by 45. 45's not in the kennel right now, of what they think the outside world would look like. And as you're thinking about the light, your eyes kind of drift towards that and kind of this makeshift image of what it might look like outside. But this is the one person who came in here from such a young age that they don't remember what the outside looks like. So you look at where they tried to draw a tree and it looks more like a dandelion, or you look at where they tried to draw the ocean, but the lines are all squiggly in a weird way, where they're going up and down and they don't really have the concept of a horizon. It looks like you guys tried to help them figure it out, but the stuff you guys were using to draw on the wall is permanent, and when they saw it, they took away all the stuff for drawing, so this stuff is just kind of stuck here.
We're all gonna meet up in Elaxia one day, though.
Do you think it's real?
Whether it's not, we're gonna find out.
I want to go there. And then nobody else can come. It's just for us. It's like a secret club.
Yeah. None of the big ones.
You see walking into the hallway is a person in red robes and a white steel skull mask. You would know this to be a Reaper. One of the Reaper gang. And as they walk in, they are pushing along 46, who is a Fledge, a Fledge is somebody who has a transparent film on their skin and usually multiple different colors for their hair and smaller facial features that make them look a bit younger. You see that this person has green and blonde hair, green kind of on the bottom and blonde near the top. This is 45, who we were just talking about having drawn the images on the wall. As they're being pushed into the kennel, you see that there are bandages wrapped around their eyes, which they did not have before.
I'll run over and check them. Are they conscious?
I can't see anything. I don't know where you are. Is there anything here?
I'm gonna peek under.
It's bright. I don't like the light.
As you kind of look under the bandages, you look at the eye, and it looks more like a cat's eye, which they didn't have before. The pupils are slit, the eye is green, and as the light hits it, the pupil dilates immediately.
Oh,
Is it bad? I hope it's not bad.
It looks real cool once it's
Really?
feel better.
It really hurts.
They always say it gets better, but you're gonna look wicked out there.
I told them that my eyes were hurting, and they asked if I wanted it fixed, and I was like, okay, if you can fix it, that is great. But then I don't remember what happened, and now I can't see. They said they were going to fix it, but it's worse now. It takes time for things to adjust. You should be better soon. I hope so.
I don't know if these people are good at fixing anything.
They're not that bad. They're nice, right? Like, they were trying to help. It's okay. But
They
I
always
did.
seem to be trying to fix something. Always ends up a little weirder.
I guess, if you say so.
But your eyes, I mean, they'll be cool. Those ones are awesome.
Good.
You see that she kind of like drops out of her pocket a holo record.
But I was able to take this from somebody.
And on it says like expanded history of the city of Elaxia.
I don't know what it is, but I pocketed it. What does it say? I can't read.
I can't read either.
Okay, well, we can play it and find out.
As you guys are saying that, another person begins to walk into the room again. What do you do?
We'll try to hide it. I'll shove
Okay.
it back in the pocket.
Sleight of hand check.
12.
Oh, you got a 12. Okay. Where do you guys hide stuff?
It slipped out of his pocket, so I'll just try to slip it right back in.
Okay, you try to quickly put it back in their pocket. You see another Reaper walks into the room, and this time they're bringing in 46. 46 is a Scuttlite, so you see that they look mostly human, but the tattoo of the Scuttle symbol kind of comes up their neck, and it's a design of multiple wings, so it's basically the edges of wings that you're seeing on their neck, and you can't see the rest of it because it's covered up by their shirt, which is really just rags. They kind of get put in a bit softer. They're not quite as rough. And you see that the color of their marrowgast, which is the glow that comes from their bones, is actually green instead of everybody else's being red.
You said the 50 had a green marrowgast too?
Oh, right, they did.
That one?
Okay, I guess they both have... Yeah, okay, I guess they both had green. I was wrong.
Okay, here's the hall. Got a bunch of stuff this time.
This is the kid that always steals as much as possible.
What'd you get us this time?
Okay, I got a bracelet with it's got a skull on it and gems. We could probably sell the gems when we get out. I got a piece of jerky. It's got some lint on it, but it's seasoning. And I got a flute and a harmonica.
What are these things? Never seen these kind of things before.
It's not my job to figure it out. It's my job to steal it. You guys figure what you will.
They just kind of plop themselves in the corner of the room.
I'm on break.
Nice job, 46.
You see 41 kind of goes,
Well, I think these two are instruments. We could start a band.
Get out? Start a band?
Well, we could do that.
Maybe when everyone's asleep, we could try them out.
Yeah.
You see, as you guys are talking, the Feyra in the kennel next to you, which a Feyra is a giant fox that's about the size of a horse, and it has antlers, and these antlers have stained glass integrated into them. You see, it's pawing at the gate.
Is this a common event?
You're not sure why they're doing that. You can try to figure it out.
Is this kind of like our companion here? Are we pretty familiar with this Feyra?
Give me an animal handling check to see if you are.
Okay.
What'd you get?
Hey, can you hear me?
I wasn't hearing anything.
Oh, I got a 5. Am I cutting out a bunch? Shoot.
I never heard you, until now I hadn't heard you say anything since I asked you to roll.
Yeah, we didn't hear your answer, but you haven't cut out other than that.
Okay, not that you've heard at least, huh?
All
right, yeah, I got a 5. I'll try to talk a little bit louder.
Okay. I actually once, I was in a D&D call and I kept interrupting people, I thought. And I was trying to figure out why. And I realized there was a 10-second delay on my voice.
No.
That did not go well.
I've done that before.
So you get a 5. You're not super familiar with it. It kind of keeps to itself and generally isn't very friendly towards people, but this time it's kind of pawing at the bottom of the gate, getting as close to you guys as it can, trying to get your attention.
I'm gonna grab the harmonica and I'm gonna bring it over. I think it thinks it wants to smell it, maybe. Here, little Feyra.
Smells it for a second, sneezes from the dust in it. It starts pawing at the ground again.
46. Did we add anything down there?
Well, what are you asking? I was asleep.
Oh, I was asking, did we put one of our stashes down in the ground right here?
No, that's 2 breaks to the left. You should really look at the chart that I made. I gave everybody a copy. Oh, wait, no I didn't. We didn't have any paper. Never mind. I just dreamt I gave everybody a copy.
Well, none of us can read anyway, so I don't know how much help a map would do.
Huh? What? I fell asleep again.
Oh.
Go back to sleep, 46.
Okay, I'm on break. Don't talk to me. Shut up.
46 goes back to sleep.
I love 46.
46 is great.
You see that 45 kind of like starts pawing around on the ground. They're gonna make a check here.
I don't know what they're looking for. Maybe we have like something here that they want, or I don't know. Were they doing this earlier?
No, I've never seen them do this before. I'm gonna grab some of the other things. I'm gonna pop them out, maybe one at a time.
Yeah, what sort of stuff have you guys collected so far?
I imagine 46 is, with his talents, has got us quite the treasure. Probably like, a couple of old coins if they use that anymore. I imagine maybe someone's hair scrunchie, and maybe a couple of special shiny rocks, and maybe even a dull butter knife.
There's a little bit of blood on the dull butter knife, and you remember one day one of the Reapers was walking in with like their hand on one of their eyes, and nobody asked, but everybody knew what happened.
Yeah, so maybe I'll take the butter knife out then, since maybe animals smell blood or something. Do we have a name for this, Fenra?
What name do you want for it?
Bessie. Hey, Bessie, you looking for that blood knife?
Does Bessie want blood for the blood god? Bessie likes blood. Bessie kill people and get us out.
Bessie's a good girl. She's gonna save us. She's gonna offer our prayers to the blood god.
I made it up. Blood god's not real. I made it up. I was just kidding.
Sounds a little too scary anyway.
You hold out the knife. It does lick up the blood, but then it starts pawing at the ground again. Give me... Just give me a perception check.
3.
You never figure it out. This continues for a while.
It sounds right.
Eventually, like, you guys have to put a bunch of stuff away, and the Pharaoh just stops pawing at the ground and walks away. It never responds to the name Bessie again.
Dang it. Bessie?
Did it work? I bet it worked. It must love us now.
I think it just wanted the blood because it stopped and went away, maybe. It's offering its prayers to the blood god.
I think we just invented a god. I think this is good. If we believe in it, it will become real and it will break us out.
I don't want to pray to the blood god, but, if it helps.
The night kind of goes on. It gets kind of late. Gets around the time for you guys to sleep. Anything you do before going to sleep?
I'm going to try to play that harmonica really quiet, if nobody's around.
Give me a performance check.
Okay.
So I'll say, if you beat a 7, it's good. If you beat a 13, it's quiet enough nobody hears it.
This one actually is better than most. No, apparently not. It's a 6.
You begin playing the harmonica, and at first it seems fine, but then, kind of like asleep, you see, 46 fall over, and as they're falling over, they kind of pass by the harmonica and yawn into it by accident. And immediately a Reaper walks in. Hey, you're not supposed to have that. And they take it from you guys.
6, you're too loud. Sleep quieter next time.
I'm on my break. You can't do anything. Okay, like, this is violating my rights. I have a right to a break, and saying that I mess things up is, suggesting that I have a responsibility, and responsibilities indicate that I am on the clock. Pay me and we'll start talking.
And they go back to sleep.
What do I normally pay them?
I love this kid.
What would you pay them? I don't know.
I probably would do like I'd probably do like pranks on the guards or something, like That would be my payments.
Oh, yeah, definitely they would love that.
You owe me one prank.
Yeah, and you guys go to sleep for the night. Hey, I'm Galdeveer, your friendly neighborhood dungeon master. I want to take a bit of a break here to talk about Asteroid Cetratus. I've been hard at work preparing this for about 11 months now. It has been exhausting, but I'm super excited to finally show it to you guys. I have plans to release merch, which got a little bit delayed, but I'm figuring it out. Also, I've got the new D&D rule set that I'm going to introduce you guys to soon, which we're sort of play testing in these first episodes. You'll see that there's definitely some changes that need to be made. I've already fixed them. These episodes were recorded a bit ago. At the end of this chapter, we're also going to be releasing the very first episode of our Ko-Fi exclusive show, Orbital Hangout. Orbital Hangout is just what it sounds like. I toss all the players into orbit, and we hang out for a bit and talk about the show. The cast members who are in the chapter basically talk about their characters, their favorite moments, just typical after-show stuff. Yeah, and you can get access to that show for just $5. Go to our Ko-Fi, and you can get the Orbital Debris roll. The show's not out yet, but once it is out, if you have the Orbital Debris roll for just $5, you'll be able to watch Orbital Hangout. There's 3 more tiers, which I'm not going to get into all of the tiers of the Ko-Fi right now. You can check the Ko-Fi in the description and see what it's about there. There's a bunch of exclusive content. Check it out. And hey, even if you can't donate, simply sharing the show or subscribing makes a huge difference. That's all for me. Back to the show. Eventually, early in the morning, you hear more footsteps than you're used to. Seems like a lot of people are walking around right now. A lot of people are up and active in other rooms in the building. There's still only the very electronic light of scuttlelumen lights up at the top of the room, and there's no actual light coming into the room. There's no windows. So you can't tell what time of day or night it is. You're the first person to wake up. Do you do anything?
Is this kind of activity normal?
No, it just it seems like there's a lot of people walking around right now, and normally there'd just be less people in the building at all.
I'm gonna go over and ask Bessie what's going on.
Animal handling.
I'm so afraid for all of these roles now.
Bessie.
16. Oh, Yay! Actually not too bad.
You see Bessie actually has so they have black fur and their antlers are kind of red-ish, they're a maroon, so it's almost brown, but it has that slight tinge to it that kind of moves it into red. And they have blue and pink stained glass in their antlers. And probably why you called them Bessie is because they have a spot where they don't grow hair anymore, and you see that their skin below is very pale, so it's has a white spot. It almost reminds you of a cow. I believe you said you got a 16, right?
Correct.
Bessie kind of walks over, flares their nostrils, and plops down and sitting down. Even sitting down, it is taller than you.
Well, it doesn't take too much. Can I reach it?
Yeah, you can try to you're young enough that you can stick your hand through the gate.
Okay, I'll probably hold on to one of the antlers. Maybe it's the only thing I can reach.
Mm-hmm. It lowers its head so you can grab the antler. You actually kind of feel the residue from the antler shedding a bit in your hand, which is interesting because it has an earthy texture to that, just something organic, and you're not used to that because you're just in such a sterile environment. It's almost like the next best thing to touching the ground.
I imagine I enjoy holding the antlers. It gives me some peace.
Mm-hmm. A bit of time passes by, and you see 2 people walk into the room. First is a female. They have a red leather jacket with spikes on the collar. They have various piercings. They appear to be a scuttlite, but also they have 2 electronic wings jutting out of their back that are made of white steel, and you can see neon green scuttlelumen flowing through it. They appear to not just be a Scutellite, but also a Stellate. They have technological modifications in their body. Normally, you would see this person with the white steel mask on their face that would be in the shape of a skull. But this time, they have it off as they're talking to this other person. You would know this person to be Digit Yamaha.
Digit Yamaha.
Yes. Next to them, you see a Waxadel who... I mistyped that. I'm just going to say that again. You see a Waxadel with a long brown trench coat, a red blouse with vertical black stripes, and black pants, and they're also wearing sort of like a slightly tinted red fedora on their head. They have white hair going down, somewhat long, and they have green eyes and sort of a sharp chin.
These the children. The children are right here. I'd say find the most miserable one and pick him up by the scruff of the neck. Misery's like mold on rotten food, and we don't need the spoiled ones.
Start smiling.
You start smiling so they don't pick you. I'm gonna say give me a deception roll.
8.
They can tell immediately that your smile is fake, and they kind of lean down. You ready to leave this place? I know it's a bit grim, but you might survive. And if you do, you get to leave. Does that sound good?
No. I'm not leaving without my pass.
Oh my. You don't actually think you have a choice here, do you?
And you see the governor puts up their hand.
Well, why is that?
They're my family.
No, they're not. They're people that you got thrown in here with. I'm sure that once you meet more people, you can be more selective. I know that I'm not exactly a fan of the family that I came from, but I didn't know that until I met new people. It took meeting new people to realize how bad the ones I had around me were.
These aren't bad people.
That's what you think. That's what I thought.
But sadly, it's not up to you. And Yamaha opens the gate, and the governor reaches in and grabs you and pulls you out. Next, we cut to you in the back of a vehicle being driven by the governor through the streets of the Steel Citadel. We see that the Steel Citadel is a modern sci-fi city. There are towering metallic white steel buildings with various ads like any dense city would have that are filled with lights. Currently, it looks like there's a bit of water on the road. Looking around is very dark right now. The lights have been dimmed so that people can easier sleep because they're in control of the lights here, and it's easier to lower them down to kind of give that sense of a sleep cycle.
Well, don't worry. You look strong. They said to take one that was weaker, but I don't agree with that. You deserve a chance. You'll be fine.
What exactly are we talking about here?
Well, I'm gonna take you down to... Oh, crap. And you see, standing in the road, is a woman with blonde hair, and they look extremely out of place. They're wearing a Victorian dress with an umbrella, and it's all a muted light bluish gray. And they swerve the car immediately, and it crashes. And you see, there's a moment where you hit the ground, and you can blink, and you see the governor running away from you down the city street. And give me a perception check.
6. I'm on a roll.
Oh my god.
I'm just dying over here.
You're not doing well over here. Are you?
I feel so
Hey,
bad.
I earned my name.
You see that person that's in the dress start walking towards you, and then you fall unconscious. We're going to jump to when you're a bit older at this point. You have gotten to a bit of a different situation. You haven't seen the person that you saw that day in the road since that point. You currently are on a mission for one of your parents, and you're getting back from it. Sadly, you had to give some information to a unsavory gang, but you were able to get the job done. You're walking up to a warehouse here, and you would know that you've got to activate the anti-veil before coming in here, because stuff's going to see you walking in. but once you're down there, it needs to not be able to detect where in the building you're going. Looking over, the anti-veil looks like a jukebox. Also, just describe the older version of you, the current version of you.
Sure. Sleek black hair that's just peeking out from his hood. He's dressed in mostly black. He's trying to cover the glow that comes from inside his body. He wears some gloves and even a scarf over his face. So there's not too much to see. Mostly like kind of, semi-casual clothes, but kind of covered up.
Another thing to note, too, is that you wouldn't have noticed back then, but now that you have clothes that have sleeves, you've noticed that the tattoo on your arm of the number you have, the light coming from it passes through cloth in the same way your glow passes through bone, meaning you can't hide the number other than changing your posture so that it's not pointed at people.
Well, what about like metal? Like, could I have like a little metal disc on my wherever the tattoo is on my arm?
You could try to have gotten like a material. Where's the tattoo? Is it on your hand?
I thought you said it was on my arm.
It's up to you where it is.
Sure. Why don't we say it's on my forearm then?
Okay.
That's where I imagined it when you said it.
So what do you want to use to cover it up?
Yeah, just some like forearm braces. Like I imagine it's probably somewhat common for people to be wearing. Yeah, you said like a medieval armor is somewhat common, but maybe not in steel set at all.
Armor like that would usually be infused with some sort of like lumen in some way. So it's kind of that clashing of like, we have this older thing that we've upgraded versus the modern thing.
Okay, well, if it's pretty normal to wear that type of armor, then I'd probably just wear that. And I imagine I could get one with like metal on the outside or something.
Metal itself is not enough to stop it, so it would have to be specially made to stop that glow.
Oh, okay. If then I imagine I wouldn't do anything about it, I guess.
Well, I'm going to give you a roll here, but I'm trying to figure out how you got it. So would you have bought it or would you have crafted it?
I probably would not have crafted it. I don't think that's in my skill set.
Okay.
Money's in my skill set once I'm adopted.
Yeah, so go ahead and give me, what's the correct roll here? I guess we're trying to, you have to find the seller at some point. You have to find somebody who has the skills to make it. So go ahead and give me, I'm going to say persuasion. Trying to make something illegal to hide a way that a gang has branded you.
23.
Yay!
Yep. You have this. It's able to completely cover it. It's good.
Good job, finally.
Hooray!
Go ahead.
Hey, I rolled over 10.
Go ahead and add that to your character sheet. You don't have to attune to it or anything, but it is technically a magic item. But it's not attunement.
Okay, what would I call it? It's just made to cover that. It doesn't do anything else.
The super covery-uppy gauntlet thing.
Yeah, okay. Cool. Cover up vamp brace.
Concealing gauntlet.
Yeah.
Thingamajig.
Maybe it's Mega. Maybe it's Maybelline.
Maybe it's a blackout gauntlet because it prevents light from passing through. It's up to you what you want to call it.
Yeah, blackout gauntlet.
So you're walking up to this warehouse where you know that there's a tunnel underground where your parents are currently trying to help smuggle some people out. And you're walking in, you know you've got to activate the anti-veil that is this jukebox sitting in front of the warehouse. How do you activate it?
Is there like a button that activates it? I wonder if I could like nonchalantly like flick a little rock or something that like smacked into the button so that nobody notices.
Yeah, give me an acrobatics check.
7. It's gone.
Oh my god.
So you kick the rock, and it hits a button on the jukebox, and the record starts spinning. You see that the record is infused with scutolumen, so you almost see that there's ripples in the divots of the record, causing it to dynamically shift based on what's within its radius. And you're so focused on that, you don't notice that the rock ricocheted off and is coming back at your face. Make a dexterity saving throw.
I don't think this party's gonna want me. I'm just gonna cause a ruckus wherever I go.
You're level 1. You'll get there.
Yeah. 10.
Do you roll that up to 43 yet?
I feel like now I've got to go back in editing and like put it like on like the video part. I need to put like a tally.
Yeah. I took all the luck when I got a natural 20 to be a person.
This just gives me PTSD from my character roll.
This is the number of failed rolls, yeah. Let's see.
Next session, I'll give you a number of inspiration equal to how many times you went into 43 for this intro section.
No good. Failure's fun.
Okay. You begin heading down the staircase. As you do, you run into one of your mothers, Kaylin Trackalin, who is sort of a Cetrazen with a dark green leather jacket and a blonde bob cut.
Hey, okay, you coming down here? Do you want to help out? Oh, sorry, bit of scatterbrain here. Did you do the job? You got the money for the Reapers? I know you hate working with them, but...
I got it, Ma.
Okay, look, eventually, I know I know you don't want to support them, but eventually we'll be able to not need them anymore.
That, Mom. You
What?
keep saying that.
I know, but like, you haven't been in a room where Warforged have marched in out of nowhere. Once you have it, you don't get out of that situation. We can't afford even one mistake. We've had to kill a couple of people, and it's not something we wanted to do, but that's the biggest law of this city, not to kill someone. And I mean, we had to kill a couple of Reapers when they came for you, and it's just now we need their protection. And they know what they're doing. They know that we hate doing this. It's part of the reason we even have the deal. You know, if
of course, I appreciate it. All you do for me. I just don't want this to come back and bite you in the butt, you know?
Hey, it won't, okay? We're gonna keep paying our dues. As long as we're a source of income for them, there's no reason for them to do anything. Oh man, you know, if Kalani was here, you know, she would just immediately be able to deal with this. Miss Kalani was able to handle anything. We could go right into the Reapers if we had her with us. But, it's not what we got going on.
You begin kind of walking down these staircases, going down into this warehouse a bit underground, and eventually you come up on a maintenance door. You walk in.
Okay, I believe it's, flick this one here, flick this here,
And she pulls some levers on pipes, and then a door opens up in the wall, and you see a tunnel that has been dug by hand heading out of the Citadel underground. And at the end of the tunnel, you see your other mother.
Hey, Shira.
You see that she is a ringtooth, so she has green skin and triangular teeth. She has black hair that is up in a bun right now and is kind of like, you know, a little bit overweight and short, but you know not to mess. You know that if somebody messed with her, she could hold her own in battle.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, sweetie. Okay, you coming down? Hey, we were on the last track. You remember to put the jukebox on loop, right?
Yeah, I got it.
Okay, good. So we're gonna just collect your things, put them in the cart. We've set up a track here.
We'll head out, and you see that they're kind of like helping a family of Scuttleites, and look, and you see that they have a little girl that reminds you a lot of one of the people you were in the kennel with.
Hey there. You're real brave, you know that?
I don't know, I mean... Are we gonna be okay?
And they kind of like clutch their teddy bear closer.
Hey, look, we got you now. Everything's okay.
Are you gonna be with us when we leave?
We're gonna be with you all the way until we hand you off into the next hands, and you'll be real safe. Everybody does this. It's standard procedure. You're safe with us.
As you say, you're safe with us, you hear the sound of metallic marching in the distance. And just a few moments later, bursting through the wall, not activating the secret code to open the wall, just bursting through it, is a warforged. You see that they're made of white steel. There are visible, transparent wires going out of the body with scutolumen pumping through them. And there is an unmistakable heartbeat coming from these metallic androids as they march down.
Sweetie, you gotta go. We'll handle them here. You gotta leave with them, okay?
Yeah.
She opens a compartment in the wall and takes out a huge gun and just starts going ham. And you hop in the car and begin heading off. In the distance, what do you do as it begins heading off? You guys are on the track. It's sort of like a minecart track. You get the family in. There's a couple of belongings they left behind. Little girls just clutching their teddy bear.
He's probably gonna look back, shed a silent tear, and then strong face it for these people.
As you look back, you see that you see both of your mothers. Like, one of them has a sword and the other has a gun, and that gun appears to be infused with hollow static, and the sword appears to be infused with scutolumen, and they're fighting their way. But in the back of the crowd of Warforged, which you see that there's now 20 of them, is that woman in the blue dress. And give me another perception check.
7.
And for a moment, your head kind of nods off, and you regain consciousness, and it seems like you were just unconscious for a second, and they're gone. And just see that conflict becomes smaller and smaller as you move away, until that dot in the distance becomes a dandelion seed. A burning dandelion seed floating through the air. We see it drift down into a field of tall yellow grass. And as it hits the top, a ripple of fire pulses across the field, like a drop of water hitting a sea. And we see, ducking under the fire to make sure that she doesn't burn herself, is Myra. Kind of walking up, you see that your mother is a bit ahead of you. There's a hill within this large space of yellow grass. The yellow grass covers the ceiling of the caverns, the walls, the ground, unlike a lot of other places. So the entire space is just this endless sea of yellow. And you see that up on this hill in front of you is a chalice oak, which is an oak that has its branches grow upwards almost like a cup, and various dirt and wax and other like ash, smoke all condense in the chalice part of the tree, and it builds up there. And some would call it ugly, but a lot of things in the Bile region are a bit gross at first, but then they grow on you. And there's a certain charm to the place. You see, I'm sorry, I need to make sure I get the name right. What was your mother's name again?
Mesa.
Mesa, okay. What do you do as you walk up to greet her and you see she's actually standing there in sort of these like tan brownish jeans and a kind of like white undershirt that's sleeveless. You see that she has the same face as you, kind of like a nice jawline, but lots of wrinkles, and there's wax accruing at various points on the skin and short white hair.
I take a deep breath. I'm feeling kind of tense. I have to have a nice little talk with my mother, so I stand up straight with good posture and slowly approach her.
Could have gotten here like a few minutes early, but that's okay.
I'm sorry, I got held up. I'm here now.
Well, when the person you're protecting dies, you can tell their corpse that. Get ready. And she pulls out a wooden sword and throws another one at your feet.
Mom, I don't want to do this right now.
Well, when you're on the job, you're not going to get to choose when you get to do this. You have to be on your feet. You have to be able to do this at any time. And you need to be doing it at full capacity.
We've been drilling and drilling.
It's for your own good. If you don't work hard, you're never going to be as good as me. And if you're not as good as me, then you're not going to be able to get jobs anymore. People are going to assume that our line is done. And not only will you not be able to get jobs, but your kid, and your kid after that, and your kid after that.
I get it. I pick up the sword.
Let's go ahead and roll initiative.
Oh no.
She gets a natural 1. So she's still talking, and you start a bit ahead of her. What's your initiative roll?
Probably got all the bad ones out. You should be good.
18.
So you immediately jump into the fight. What do you do? It's your turn.
I attack low, because she's top heavy.
Okay, give me an attack roll. And you would know one of the rules of this sparring match is that you treat the tree like it's the person you're protecting. You assume that they're staying still one place, and if you leave the hill, you're done.
23.
Okay. You go low and you hit her in the legs. Good. And she's going to pull out her blade and go for an attack roll. That's a 22. So that's going to hit. The person you're protecting is unreliable. Can't just only be aggressive. You have to position yourself.
I got it. I adjust my stance.
You don't have time to deal with them. You can protect yourself by drawing the fight out, but every minute you waste is another minute where somebody's coming up.
This time I try to do a jump attack.
Okay. Are you adding like a weapon mastery to this at all? You can do that every time you attack.
Okay, let's use my Gray's weapon mastery.
Okay. And as you're trying to go for a jump, I'll say, give me an athletics check.
Okay. Oh my god, I got a 6 on a +4.
You go to jump, but your foot hits one of the roots and you start to stumble into the ground and get up. But as she kind of leans back and figures you're going to not get up very quickly, you're able to go for a strike. So go ahead and give me your attack. I'll say disadvantage.
Okay. I got an 8.
Being aggressive doesn't mean being sloppy. You're not a killer, you're a protector. Every time you make a cut, think about the person you're protecting. You are killing for their survival. If it has no effect on their survival, you don't do it.
Let me try again.
You haven't even put yourself between me and the thing you're protecting. She gestures towards the tree. I could have, from the start of this, immediately attacked there, but I didn't. Get up.
I get up and move towards the tree.
She's immediately going to go for an unarmed strike and try to trip you again. So give me a dexterity saving throw.
11.
So you fail. She trips you again. Not now that I'm expecting it.
I can do better.
Do.
I grit my teeth and stand back up.
If you don't finish the battle fast, you'll screw it up. Because the fact of the matter is, the person you're protecting is unreliable. They can't survive. They need you. Every moment that you have in this fight is a moment where the person you're protecting can do something stupid. They'll think they're helping. They'll try to do something. They'll think, oh, I can hit the tree and knock some dirt on their head. They'll think, oh, I can try to trip them. And they'll walk in the way of fire and they'll get hurt. You're taking too long.
I know, Mom. I know I'm an absolute candle, but stop. You're smothering my fire. Let me just try again.
Free attack. Go for it. She just puts her arms up.
I can do this. 14.
She goes to step out of the way, and what do you do to prevent her from moving out of the way of this attack?
I quickly use 1 foot digging into the ground to pivot in her direction.
You pivot, and without changing your stance while keeping the same swing, you're able to hit her. And she stumbles back for a moment as a splinter gets kind of like put in her shoulder from the wooden blade. Good enough for today. She starts walking off into the field, and without looking back at you, starts talking, "What do you want to talk to me about?" And she just expects for you to follow.
Never mind, Mom. Don't worry about it. I follow behind her.
Yeah, you guys begin heading back to your home. You see in the distance, you have a nice white fence around your house that houses the garden. There's yellow foliage all around like there is everywhere here. Few chalice trees, chalice oaks, but not a lot of those. This is sort of a house made from condensed mud into brick, and then there's red shingles for the roof and, some normal glass for the windows. You see that as you're walking up, your father's in the garden, actually, and he has his back to you and is currently working on some of the flowers.
How are the herbs going, Dad?
Well,
You kind of turns around, you see that he has very large bushy eyebrows and very straight jaw.
well, I'm not really working on the herbs right now. They were getting a little sick, but I figured that it would be better if I did these, and
You see he's currently working on some ribbon tulips.
I mean, I know that the herbs are gonna die, but it's his birthday, and these were his favorites, so, I wanted to put some in pots and maybe put them around the house.
See, the ribbon tulip is a tulip where the petal keeps growing in a long line, and to the point where it droops down until it goes all the way down to the ground. And once it hits the ground, the edge starts curling up like a ribbon that's been curled.
I know, Dad. I miss him too.
You see sitting in the windowsill is a candle that's currently burning, and in it is a cameo set into the wax. A cameo is a image that is sculpted to create the image. It uses depth without any color to create the shape of a face. And you see the face looks a lot like your dad or brothers.
Dad, I know you want to work on the plant, and I know it's his birthday, but, there's a lot of people in town that have been asking about you. They really could use your help.
There's a certain point where I'm not as good at it as I used to be. If he was here, I could teach him and he could handle it, but one of the things about being a doctor is making sure you don't harm people, and if I just try to help them knowing that I'm not at my best, I could make it worse. I don't want to make it worse at all. It's better that I don't. I'll make the herbs and I'll sell them. Hopefully somebody from out of town who's looking to be a doctor can do it.
Dad, just because he's gone doesn't mean that it all has to end. There's people who need you, and I need you.
That's exactly what it means. Adamus decided that he was the best of his line, that your brother was the best there was ever going to be of this face, and so it ended there. And it should end. He's done, and so am I.
Give me a persuasion check.
Another 11.
You see he's kind of smudged some of his shirt with some dirt. He's wearing these brown overalls that are made of the same material that your mother's jeans were, this very light brown, and he has a white and blue plaid shirt.
Well, look, I can maybe, at best, I could maybe teach somebody. I could try to help a few people. I want to teach somebody to do it because they'd be better, but everybody's already got jobs. There's nobody who's going to want to pick up a new craft. It's not our way.
Dad, that's not true. You know I tried.
Your mother immediately stares daggers at you. Inside.
I'm going.
Oh, I forgot. And as you open the door, you see sitting inside is Governor Magdalene Malchus.
Oh, well, took you guys long enough to get back. Mesa, may I speak to you?
She kind of looks at her and silently gestures to another room, and they both walk into another space. And you're kind of just awkwardly left alone in this room as you faintly hear people talking in the other room. Do you do anything?
I start cleaning up the disheveled mess around my house. You can tell my father hasn't been taking care of it.
You see that there's definitely a stark contrast between the order of the garden and the order of the house, where the garden has everything in rows, and anytime it's not in a perfect grid, it's intentional, it's knowledgeable. He's putting it there because he knows it's better that way. Whereas with the house, everything is messy, everything is in an unintentional place, and even now you're looking at things and you're thinking, is there even a place this is supposed to go? As you're cleaning a bit here, just give me, what sort of check would that be? I guess sleight of hand? Kind of see how quickly you can clean up. I'll say sleight of hand or athletics.
14.
Okay, you're able to get the place fairly cleaned up fairly quickly. You kind of think back to, you look at the candle, and you think back to the days when your brother was around, and how clean the house was, and it's nice to just make it like it was back then. Your parents wouldn't have liked to have a reminder, they wouldn't have liked the space to feel the same, but for you it's nice, and it's probably healthy for them to get out of trying to keep it different. But you hear a knock on the door. As Russo, you show up. Having heard about Kalani and her exploits, you know that that if there's anybody who's going to help you out in the mission you're trying to go on, it would be somebody from this family.
Am I coming right from where we left off?
It would have been some time, but not a lot of time. Maybe a couple of days.
I took care of that family already.
Yes. But as you knock on the door, that's where we're going to have to leave off the session today because it's 11. We didn't make it through the introductory scenes?
Oh my gosh.
Shocked.
Wait, about.
We tried.
I'm sorry, Twig, that you didn't get to play. I'm sorry.
That's all right. That's all right.
Hey, yours was the hardest for me to make. It was so difficult, and you will have a good amount of stuff next session.
Cool.
Twig is awesome. Check out his stuff.
I'm really sorry. I think I took up way too much time.
No, you're fine. You're fine.
We all have cool backstories. We can't help it.
Just last thing I'll say here is that is the end of episode 1 of chapter 1 of Asteroid Cetratus Journey to Elaxia. We will see you guys next week. I don't know when this is getting uploaded. I'll figure it out later. Yeah. Goodbye.
Thank you.
See ya.
Hey.